All right, guys, today we're down here in South Mississippi with Travis Murray, a popular guest from our podcast, Southern Outdoorsman. And today we're going to be looking at how Travis sets up on the ground bow hunting without a blind. And again, how you can implement this whether you're hunting public or private land anywhere across the country.
Deer use this bottom, and they come right up through here. So you want to watch this with a bow, all right? I would build, see this over you? It's all you need. You don't have to have a tarpaulin over you.
Okay.
Something over you to break up your outline. That I'll take these things and I'll manipulate things and I'll put me some deadfall, something here. You don't want a full wall where you can't shoot. You got to have something over your head and then just something right here.
Okay.
And if I was actually hunting it, since I'm so close to where I enter, I would clear a path where I could walk down here quiet.
Okay.
I might, there is a good chance I'll actually hunt right here this year.
Okay.
This is actually a great place.
And it's just a little low spot. They're coming up this creek drain. There's this ditch system.
You can't see it, but the traveling over there, the easiest way to get from back in here to over here where food sources are, all the food sources are over there.
Okay.
There's no food sources this way for a long way. It's just sterile forest.
Okay.
So the deer do like to, there's a holler back in here. You can, and it's thick, and they love to bed in there. A bunch of switch cane.
So I can see switch cane right here.
And they bed in there, and then the easiest way to get from there up through here is up through this draw. So you're using what the deer want to do. This is a place that I may well make a blind, a natural blind. You got this limb right here.
So again, the concept is you want something overhead to kind of, again, have a little overhead, not even just like really laying shade down. It's just to give you a little vertical cover over the top of you.
Something to, it seems like when you draw, you can sit right here you can sit right where he is in the open. And as long as you don't do anything, it really doesn't matter. If you're perfectly still, try to draw. That's the problem. When you have stuff over your head, you don't want it so close you're getting your bow limb in it. Like this is perfect. This is all you need. You got this little bit right here. Clear you a place right here where you can move quietly. And I'll sit right on the ground. I mean, I'm not a comfort guy.
Okay.
If I'm comfortable, I'm usually unhappy.
Okay.
Best things happen when I'm pretty uncomfortable.
And then you're adding, again, you're taking different materials around you to kind of add around, specifically you want more front cover than back cover?
Right here, I would take a bunch of this stuff and use this because I need it out of my way to shoot.
Okay, yep.
So I would manipulate, and this is dead. All this stuff is dead. And I'll just make some stuff here. And you don't have to have a solid wall. You just have to have something. You want something with black leaves in it. That stuff I used in the burn pile.
Yep, that vines.
That vine, man, it is great for natural blinds. But anything just to make a little cove here that you can peep out of, keep it low enough. You don't want to have to raise up and shoot. You want it from where you're looking, you want to be able to draw and shoot without having to do this.
Okay.
Doing this is going to get you busted.
Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. And also an advantage I'm seeing right here in this circumstance of using the traditional archery equipment is how you can stay a lot lower for that shot opportunity.
I'm going to be sitting right there, and all my movement is just going to be this.
Yep.
There's going to be no coming up right and getting, the traditional archery really is an advantage here.
Now also, when you're kind of hunting around, this is something that would be more like a pre-stage hide, or is this something that, we say hide and blind kind of going back and forth, but you like to call it a hide, necessarily correct in this circumstance?
And when you hear me talk about it, a blind is a commercial something enclosed, a pop-up blind, a bought blind. To me, a hide is something that you make out of natural material.
Okay, I got you. Now also, if you're hunting around, like behind us or right out here in front of us, there's some switch cane kind of starting to come down. You said there's a thicker draw. If you're hunting the edge of that and you're kind of on the move hunting off the ground and you're trying to go from spot to spot, in that circumstance, I know that's when your ghillie seat really plays a factor for you, but you're still looking for some overhead cover. If you're going to sit down for a little bit to kind of watch an area and set up in an area, you're not necessarily going to manipulate a lot of stuff around. You're just going to try to find a spot you can set up quickly.
Yes, I wouldn't put a lot of effort here. It wouldn't take much. And as I said, I will probably hunt here later in the year. You can see where that switch cane starts over there, but you're looking at the edge of a bedding area. There's deer in there listening to us right now. They're in there chewing their cud, and there's deer within 100, 150 yards of us right now. I guarantee you they're in there. Like I said, all the food is that way.
Now, one thing, let's walk down through here. One thing I want to get your idea of, this is very gentle rolling hill country right here. Do you see a lot of these deer specifically like to stick and travel through these bogs instead of getting up on some of these more exposed ridges in this kind of environment? Or is it kind of just, it just depends on the situation?
It varies greatly. What you'll see bucks do a lot, let me find one, is like, see that ridge right there? A lot of times they'll have a trail, or they'll travel not on the very top of the ridge, but off to one side where they can see. But it just, no, there's no set, they do this all the time. That just doesn't exist. And like up in here, if I had my set there, I would want the deer to come through here instead of this tree.
Okay.
I wouldn't want them using this. I'd want them right where that beam of sunlight is. I might do some hinge cuts, something through here, just to make it easier traveling where I want them.
Gotcha.
Hinge cuts are a powerful weapon to manipulate the deer to you. The deer could come from anywhere. You just have to deal with it. Sometimes it completely messes you up and you get busted. Sometimes you can manipulate it to your advantage. Like this setup here, what I like about this one, and I haven't talked about it much, but if you're sitting there, you can see through here. And if deer start filtering out, and let's say they decide to go that way. Let's say I see one filter out of that bedding area and they hit that ridge right there. That ridge goes all the way up here to a big clear cut. What am I gonna do?
Swing around.
Soon as I get some breathing room, I'm gonna leave right there. I'm gonna go all the way back around where we just went, and I'm gonna make a big wide circle, and I'm gonna get at the end of this ridge where it goes into that clear cut. So this is a situation where you could run and gun or run and bow.
And the advantage topography-wise here is because of all the little ditches, all the little ridges, it allows you to do that versus if it was completely flat, correct?
That, and there's just natural cover. Now you can't, being right there, if there's deer on that ridge right there, with all this cover between us, you could get up, you wouldn't want to break and run like your bear was after you or something, but you could move pretty quickly and methodically and get out of earshot. And once I got up there to that clearing and them dirt roads, I'd break and run. You just got to use common. If the deer up on that ridge right there, you can see the sunlight.
Yep.
If the deer were traveling that ridge and pop out in that clear cut, naturally I'm not going to get a shot here. I will, and I've killed a lot of deer cutting them off like that.
Okay.
What I've done here is I've gathered just a few green balls, and I'm going to put them in the ground. You notice I broke them off slick. And I'm going to bring them to my hide. Now, one clarification, in this scenario, I got these down here. If I was really hunting, I would have gathered them from back here where I didn't expect the deer, just to be clear there. But if we're gonna sit right here under that limb, I'm just gonna put some cover in front of me. And since the bedding area is there, I want a little bit from here.
Okay.
I'm gonna clear this. I'm gonna have me a nice place to sit, relative comfort. And I'm gonna be sitting right here. It's all it takes. You don't have to have an impenetrable wall in front of you.
Now, let me ask you, do you like or dislike having a tree to your back? Or
I like having a tree to my back.
Okay.
Sometimes. On this particular setup, it really doesn't matter because I can be quite comfortable here because of this downslope. I'm not too worried about comfort, but you can't be too uncomfortable where you're fidgety. You got to have some level of comfort where you can be still and relax.
Do you ever pack in like a small like chair or something, or a cushion or something to kind of sit on? What's your thoughts on that?
I usually carry something just to sit on in case it's damp. Right now it's dry. I'll sit here all day. Won't bother me a bit. I can sit Indian style like this very comfortably for a very long time. If it was wet, say January, and if the thing was damp, nobody likes a wet behind. So yeah, I carry something to sit on.
Okay. Okay.
It's going to be small, going to be light. It's probably not going to have anything metal in it. I don't like metal. In the real world, the bedding area is there. I've got a ridge protecting me here. There's something behind me. There's a big opening. They're not going to come through that. So we got a big bedding area here. So I would have some stuff here that I can easily see over, but little micro movements of my hand and things like that don't show up. But I don't want a bunch of stuff I'm peeping through. I want it about this high, and then I want the deer anywhere from where you are to over here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go over there on the other side of that big pine that's dead, and I'm gonna make a hinge cut or two, or drag a deadfall. Just make it where the easiest traveling is where I want the deer.
Yeah. Travis, after sitting here in your hide, explain again the importance of having this overhead cover above you, and again, why you're looking so much for that versus again, just sitting out underneath a tree where there's no overhead canopy.
Well, you're almost tucked back under. Something over your head seems to allow you to get away with drawing better. There's a cavey effect, and you can see how thin this is. But I'm not skylighted. I like something over my head. If I needed to be by that big pine there, I'll put something, you can make it though.
Okay.
You could cut this limb off and you could affix it. I will manipulate the terrain in a heartbeat. Because a lot of times you don't have in this scenario, this is actually a good spot with a limb already there. In the real world, and I've always got a knife. It doesn't take much to cut a little limb, and it takes so little. This little bit right here is all you need. Like I said, you don't have to have a tarpaulin over you. Just something over you, and it just helps break up your human outline. Even if they see movement, it's not they're much likely to catch it because there's other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And in a sunny environment, it'll shade you a little bit.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like definitely you notice like this spot, even with the sun being pretty high up, we got a lot of shade right here, and you can look out there a lot more sunlit areas, which is gonna be so much easier for a deer to spot you. So
with this thin stuff, and you put a little more right here, and this over your head, you're very unlikely to get spotted unless you move. You've got to make a mistake.
Even without a ghillie suit?
Even without a ghillie suit, absolutely.
Okay.
A ghillie suit allows movement. Now you sit here with a ghillie suit, honestly, you can just sit right there. But even in a ghillie suit, having this around when it comes time to draw, this is all the difference in the world.
Okay.
And I would say that's even more important with a compound. Because with my longbow, I can be hunched right here, and say a deer went up right there, this is all I got to do, right there. Compound, you've got to get more upright.
Yeah.
Most people do. So this is even more important with a compound.
All right, guys, appreciate y'all watching this video. Again, if you want more content like this, again, that we've done with Travis, you can check out some of the podcasts we've done with Travis in the past. Just look up Travis Murray on any audio listening platform. You'll find those episodes. And also we have a new episode with Travis Murray on YouTube as well. So appreciate y'all watching this video. Appreciate you, again, tuning into the podcast. And we'll catch you back here in the next video from the Southern Outdoorsman podcast. And remember, guys, y'all stay Southern.